Okay, Grace. Michael here. Do you hear me?
I hear you. Do you hear me?
Grace, I do hear you. This is a good sign, a good start. We got about 3 minutes before game time, maybe 2 minutes now.
Yay, and audio is working
And we
today.
have the audio working today. Friday the 13th is behind us. Well, behind us,
Yay.
isn't it?
Yeah, that was not a good thing.
Yeah, things happen, and that's what makes us stronger, doesn't it?
Well, if it doesn't kill us, it'll definitely make us stronger.
That's right. So we're going to have a good time today. And I don't know if some people they might be watching the recorded or they might be kind of listening to us now. So tell us what we're going to be talking about today, darling.
Well, do you want to do that now or you want to wait until
Oh, we'll
the
do it
actual
again. We'll do it
broad?
twice.
We've got
Once
2 minutes.
for a prelim.
Why don't you tell
Maybe we can talk about how we ended up here. That's even better.
how we ended up?
Yeah, how we did
Sure.
this show. So,
Oh, okay.
it's a two-part, and we'll say it again later. But the first part is that as producers, we would like to have good information for the people who view. We want to be sure we go through all the prerequisites to have them watch the video and to hopefully appreciate and participate and have something meaningful to them. That's what it's all about.
Exactly, and feedback.
And feedback. And feedback is so critical, as we'll talk about.
Definitely.
And the other is that then for us producers, well, what do we have to do to get to those points? There are those prerequisites. And so, not only for us as producers, but for us as viewers, what are the things that are required to have people come watch our show, be part of the audience, and then what do they get out of the show? That's kind of what we're going to be talking about today. So, it's a really good topic, I think, that I'd like to take credit for it, but I think Grace came up with this one, didn't you?
I did, and we definitely are looking forward to your input. Again, as Michael said, to reiterate, whether you are a viewer of YouTube or whether you are a creator, your feedback is vital because it's your opinions that really get us going and get our motivation. And yeah, so let's talk about those things.
So, just on that note, is that there is two modalities in time. Woo, whatever that means. But there's those who are going to be watching it live and those who are going to be watching it after the fact.
That's right.
And so, yeah, if you are watching after the chat, you can still participate in the comments. That's cool too. We like to, unlike some YouTubers who edit it or take out all the chat, we like to leave the chat in. So you'll be able to see the chat that's coming by. Hopefully, we get some people
Okay,
that want to have some comments that aren't bashful.
I'm going to start that ticker.
It is time, she says. So, okay,
It
30-second
is.
countdown. Let's do it, Grace.
Alrighty.
Okay, we are
Hello.
live.
Live.
As always,
Live.
when we start off, hi, I'm Michael.
And I'm Grace.
And we're California Travel Videos. And we're so happy to have you here today, this Saturday, the 14th of November. Boy, Turkey Day is not far away.
It
and
is.
then the Christmas holidays, or whichever holidays you have during the December timeframe. And then in January, we're going to be looking forward to Quartzsite, the big Q21.
Yes, definitely. Hoping that we can all get there healthy and happy.
I'm going to go in my pocket. In fact, is that yes, up here for us Californians, is we're do our COVID thing, don't we? So yeah, we'll definitely be having my COVID gear when we get down there, or staying more than 6 feet away, or maybe both. But that doesn't mean we can't give some virtual hugs and the like there. So yeah, that's going to be a good getaway. So we are looking forward to doing some more RV, and we had a good trip. Was it a week ago, darling?
Yeah, just about a week.
We were at Hendy. Sounds like Handy, Hendy, Hendy Woods State Park, which is about 100 miles north of us, by Cloverdale, by Boonville, if you like that, towards Mendocino.
Every time I think of Boonville, there was a commercial about, oh God, 20, 30 years ago for Boonsville, the strawberry wine. And that
Okay.
was filmed up in that
It
area.
wasn't Boontown. It was Boonville.
I think it was Boonville.
Huh.
Yeah, it was Strawberry Boonville, Boone's Farm wine. It was a
Mm-hmm.
cheap, I don't know, it was a cheap wine that
Oh,
everybody drank.
there's no, not cheap, honey.
Maybe it was the 70s.
I'm thrifty,
Okay, that was a long
economically
time ago.
desirable.
Long time ago. I can
Okay.
still remember. So, anyway,
Today's topic
yes,
is
let's talk about today.
okay. So today we're going to be talking about the prerequisites for us to watch a video, maybe on YouTube, might be a DVD, might be live streaming on TV. I don't really know, but we'll kind of mostly focus on YouTube because that's what we're talking to you on here today. What are the things that we do when we want to watch somebody's video? What are those criteria? And then from a producer's perspective, yeah, what do we as producers need to do to try to be sure to be in synchronicity, to be in tune for the prerequisites, to have the hook, and I mean that in the best sense, but to have something that is enticing for people to watch, and then hopefully we deliver on the promise, right, Grace?
Definitely. So, we're going to talk about some of the YouTube do's and don'ts and some of the things you're looking for in whether it's the channel art or the banner. What other things, honey?
Well, we start off with the thumbnail. I mean, when you get a
Ah.
book, first thing you do is look at the book's cover, right? I suppose when you go out on a date when you were younger, maybe when we met, I don't know, but just like, oh, they clean up well. There's certainly the appearance types of things. Normally that's the thumbnail. Is it look like something that you would be interested in? And that's more the right brain, the kind of the emotional side, but maybe you're a DIY. I need to fix my microwave oven. We got a lot of people wanted to watch when we did the microwave oven replacement. So maybe it's kind of like left brain, logical. What do I need to do? Tell me the steps, Michael.
Right.
And so
Content.
after the title, I guess it is the thumbnail. It is the title. But you might have the thumbnail, the text in it if you use it, and the actual title. Hopefully they have some correlation, if not exactly the same. But you want to once again have the ways to say, "Oh, open the book. Let's look inside." When we go to
Exactly.
find something, and hopefully it's not a clickbait, right? Hopefully
Exactly.
the things that we saw in the thumbnail and things we saw in the title and things that we see in the description match what we start to see in the content.
Exactly. So on our current thumbnail, speaking of thumbnails, it says "pulling you," because that's what we want to talk about. Is we want to get your input of the things that you're looking for when you go to YouTube.
Now that you mentioned, go ahead and get some others. I'll see if I can pull that puppy up.
Pull up. Oh, our thumbnail. Our
Yeah,
most current thumbnail. Okay. Well, after the titles and the thumbnails, then comes the content. So the content as well as the content ID and the SEO. What you're searching.
SEO, that sounds like a mouthful. What is that?
That
SEO.
is search engine optimization.
Ooh, she knows the words, doesn't she?
Right. So how you want that content and those tags and the title and the thumbnail to all get the maximum exposure.
Great.
Now we're not upside down. Okay, I can almost see it. I know how to fix this. I'm going to go right there.
Am I have it backwards again? I've this way of having
yeah,
things
you're backwards. No.
Okay.
Yeah, you're backwards.
Well, you can at least see the colors of it here until I get
Backwards.
rid of it and see. Let's see, is that this camera? No, it's this camera. So, okay. So I need to go over to, it's actually the background, isn't it? So over to there. You go ahead and talk for a second, Grace, and I'll be playing with the buttons.
Too many buttons. We were playing with those buttons for a while. Alrighty, and then with the content comes along with that is the story. So we're going to talk about what makes the video intriguing or what makes you watch.
Does that look a little better?
That looks much better.
Okay, so here's one that Grace mentioned, the one for the show for today. And it says, pretty big font. When is the time? Saturday, 11/14/20, 3 p.m. Pacific time. And it's about titles, thumbnails, watch, and more. Subscriptions. We'll talk about subscriptions too. And then she put in on a black star, polling you. So we're going to be
Polling
asking you for your input today. So I hope for those of you here, look, we got some more coming on in. So yeah, we'd like to at any time. And it says we use TubeBuddy to help with that. And
Right.
it's maybe not quite as much on the thumbnails, but when it comes to the very important things, the title and your descriptions, Both TubeBuddy and vidIQ, whichever you prefer, are two great tools. So maybe we'll get a chance to get your input on that. So
Definitely.
that is so cool. But as we'll talk about later, it's sometimes you think about what you want to produce, where you're going to go, and then later on you think, oh, I really should have seen if anybody wants to watch this. And maybe you want to be something different, but we'll get into that. I won't get too far ahead of myself. But yeah, getting back to this overall topic is that we should look at it not only from a standpoint of a producer, but when we go to watch things ourselves, what are the things that attract us? So we need to think in the with them.
What's in it for moi?
Yeah,
For me.
what's in it for me? So if we think it's what's in it for me as a producer, if you're a producer, sorry, not
Right.
everybody's going to be so excited when you get to like 2 hours of I don't know what,
Chit chat.
changing. Oh, I know, your roof of your RV. We're going to spend 2 hours on reviving the roof on the RV. We'll start off with pressure washing. Let's watch a half hour of that. Maybe not so much. If you're lucky, they'll fast forward. If not, they're off and gone somewhere else. So, Grace, should we go ahead and get started with
All
the
right.
first element?
Yeah, so we're going to talk about first is the thumbnails.
The thumbnails.
So that's,
Okay.
or no, actually the channel art. I think,
Oh,
and
okay.
the
You want to do a
title.
channel art
Yeah.
thing?
I know
Okay.
I kind of have thumbnails and then channel art. but I
Well,
think-
there's our channel art right
Right.
there. Tell us about that.
And then the channel art is the very first thing people are going to see when they come into your channel. So when you're going on to somebody else's channel or you're checking them out, are you paying attention or are you watching their channel art and what information? One of the things I found very intriguing as I learned to put this together is, Michael, honey, can you show them? Do you have your red pen?
I do. It's ready to go.
Okay, can you draw the square, the intersquare?
Yes.
All right, so that intersquare is what you're going to see on every device, whether you're watching it from your iPhone or whether you're watching from your home computer or whether you're watching on the television. You will always see that, but you won't always see the two sides. So right now, I'm looking at this device on our home computers, so I can see both sides. I can see where it says subscribe on this side, honey. Do a circle. Subscribe, like,
Oh,
share.
subscribe on the right-hand side. I'm going to put a little circle on that one.
Exactly. And then on the other side, the live feed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that says the date and the time. Now, you're not going to see that if you're viewing from a mobile phone, but you will see it if you're on your home computer, and you will see it if you're on your home television. In addition, we're not seeing this right now because we brought it up on the home computer, but if we were looking at it from a television perspective, you would have additional information above the bar and below the bar. So I just use that for more of the graphic design part of it.
I think I'm going to try to show that to them. Let's see if I can go to a different screen here. I'm going to go back to the bigger screen. And so here is my phone, if I get my head out of the way, so it'll hopefully focus on this. But if you look at the top there,
Yeah, you only see the banner.
yeah, you only see the banner there. You don't really see that stuff on the side. So it doesn't give you all the real estate because these are small devices. And if you
Right.
got 60 or 70% of your subscribers that are on a tablet or on some kind of a mobile phone device, you don't want to put too much information off on the sides. Or said differently, if you are watching somebody else's and you're looking for things and you see it on a mobile device, if they didn't design it well, you might be missing some information. It's like, well, they said on the site that it's a date and the time. And on ours, you see in the left, if you are looking at it through your device, you'll see that it says Fridays at 2 p.m. Well, what's up with that? How come we're doing it on Saturdays, Grace, this time?
Well, we're doing it on Saturday because Friday was Friday the 13th. And that did not, well, let's put it this way. When I went to go get ready for our broadcast and went into the bathroom, hit it. Sorry. Okay. I went to go take the washcloth out of the sink, and a big giant spider came crawling out.
And it just went downhill from there.
Yeah, and then it went downhill from there.
So yeah, stuff happens, and I guess so when we're going to find somebody's site or we're going to prepare some information, then you talked about the banner first. So let's go ahead. If you're ready, we'll go to the thumbnail.
Alrighty, well, the one thing I do want to say on the banner, though, is that that template can be found on YouTube. There is a template that you can take in and import either to Photoshop or however you do your thumbnails or your
Hmm.
artwork or your channel art.
And if you subscribe to a site like Canva or something like that, you
True.
kind of familiar with some of these tools. But yeah, these are helpful. So, okay, here we go. We're going to start taking a look now at the thumbnails. So, talk to
Thumbnails.
us about thumbnails there, honey.
Alrighty, well, on thumbnails, again, it's one of the first things you notice. So when you're um, looking for a description or you're looking at your subscribers, the thumbnails will pop up and you're going to click on the ones that you're most interested in. So what are some of the things you look for when you look at a YouTube thumbnail?
Yeah, that's a good one.
What
And we'll
catches
look
your
at some
eye?
others, but here on our site is that well, I'm just going to get my way out of the screen here and go, boop. Okay, I'm gone. So you can take a look and say, are they colorful? Does it, this is the left brain ephemeral type of thing. How do we feel? Are these types of content? I see one, it looks like a couple. The guy has got his hands on his face like he's kind of shocked or something. If you're going to deliver, you better be sure it's not just like clickbait kind of stuff.
Exactly.
She looks like she's kind of happy. The next one I see is that guy's got his hand on the shoulders of it. It's got some gold, and that looks like some of the colors they have in their logo,
Can
blue
you scroll
and gold.
down some?
I can do that. I can definitely help you with that. Okay, so let's see. Scroll down. Well, I thought I could, but that's the end of the screen. I guess I thought I could scroll down further. Let's see. I don't know why I can't get more of them
You
here.
got to go
But
to where it says videos. See?
there we go.
Okay, there you
Okay,
go.
so here's some more.
All right, so the question is, do you plan your thumbnails or figure it out when you're editing? I think we figure it out after we produce the video. What's the story, basically?
Let's talk about the way a producer, I shouldn't say should. That sounds like the shoulda, woulda, oughta, coulda, nada. But one of the things that a lot of better producers, or what we would like producers to do as a viewer, we would like to have them thought out. What are the things we want? And they go ahead and then make thumbnails for that. So if you say, oh, I'm going to wait till I get through with the editing, and sometimes, sure, you may want to modify things. Sometimes you may think, let's say you're producing a major motion picture. And if you've ever heard of the book Save the Cat, it's a really great book by Blake Snyder. He talks all about why the title of a movie is so important. So same with a YouTube, if we're going to go watch one or you're going to produce one, is you don't want to wait to the very end of the process and you find out, well, nobody's going to watch it. So hopefully you've done some research before you've even started shooting video if you're like us in the travel and entertainment. But yeah, you might do some changes based upon, once you've kind of get to the end is, okay, I'm promising it turned out this way. I didn't initially plan to do all of that, but, sometimes the worm turns.
Well, I think a lot of it is like when a movie is produced, the poster art doesn't normally come out until after the movie's produced so that you can get a feeling for what is the movie about. So the person doing the thumbnail or the person doing the poster has to be inspired by what they saw.
Good point. Once Upon a Spy was a movie that I was somewhat involved with the filmmaking on, a major motion, and it had Ted Danson and Mary Louise Weller in it. And so, yeah, the photographer's taking a lot of pictures, so they'll see which ones they'll use for the promotional. But for the actual trailer and everything like that, they probably got them pretty well thought out, probably.
At least
Okay.
a general idea. All
So
right.
here's some of ours. You can see that we do try to use, when possible, a good size font, and things are readable. And if it's something that promotes what our story is, it creates some interest, is very important when we go to watch a video. And hopefully it's something that's the WIFM, the what's in it for us, that we're actually looking for, because how do people find these, Grace?
Well, they do a search.
They do a search.
By the title. But when, go ahead.
And they probably don't search for us.
Exactly.
Like our biggest video that we've had to date was on, you might say Custer's Last Stand, but oh, no, it's not really. It's Little Bighorn, right?
Yeah, what really happened at Little Bighorn?
Yeah, so, and then, oh, listen to that. What
What really
happened at, what
What-
really happened at.
That's the titles.
Yeah, now it's like, okay, it's not just going to be some pictures or just somebody saying, It's 832 acres, or 43,000 acres. People aren't going to remember that statistics anyway.
Can you do a control plus for me to zoom in and make those a little bit bigger?
I can
Thank
help you
you.
with that.
And that's one thing I want to say as well is when I do our thumbnails, I'm always doing it within Photoshop, and for my own vision, I have my area that I'm working in. It's quite large, and then when I ask Michael to come in to see what he thinks, first thing he always says is control minus.
Control minus about 5 times,
About
because
10 times.
when it takes, if she's got a 31 or a 27-inch screen, and the font's it's a thick font, and you can see it, but then when you take a look at a thumbnail size, is that maybe those words are lost, or maybe the background, it doesn't stand out enough. So I see some people, well, let's go take a look at some other thumbnails.
Definitely, like even if we go to who we subscribe
Yeah,
to.
here's a person that has done some great videos on thumbnails. And if you look at his thumbnails,
Yeah, he's got a great consistency going.
yeah, he likes to use a blue background behind white lettering. But no, some of them I see some other
Right.
backgrounds,
Some
blue
red.
and reds and
Yeah,
things
I'll
like
get
that.
our color scheme down
Yeah.
once I decide what colors I like
But
best.
some people, it's always got to be, and I'm going to have to get myself in the screen again here for a second. It's like this. And we
Oh,
have
yeah,
some
you
of
gotta
those
have
too.
that. Yeah.
It's helpful, but you don't always have to have them. And so if we take a look at Justin Brown's here, and some of them just happy face. There's one where, oops, I'm going to get away from it there. It's a astonished face. So yeah, you might think about, if you have your persona, as if you're part of the star of the show, is that what is the energy? Because the people are, even if they're looking at the words, subliminally, they're going to be taking a look at it. So when I go to somebody's site and I see where it's a well-prepared thumbnail, it's like, I'm expecting a little bit more. And I'm thinking they're probably going to deliver if they spent time with, like when you get a birthday or Christmas present, whatever it happens to be, and it's really nicely wrapped, and it has a much better bow on it than I do. Grace does a great job with these.
Well, I'm looking right here. If you do a red pen on the make money, because that
Okay.
font, the make money, is kind of just jumping out like the rest. I have to squint my eyes and grow your business. It looks like,
Mm-hmm.
but that make money, everybody wants to make money, so that kind of just jumps right out at you.
Okay, that's right there. Make money. Yeah, and that's so you used a bigger font on that, so that was kind of a big part of the promise, right?
Exactly.
He's making a promise, so that's what he's saying you're going to get. So if you're like, I'd like to monetize my site, or you want to go to somebody who at least talks about it, you wonder, well, how does this person make money with YouTube? That's kind of a little odd, or maybe it doesn't make it on YouTube. Maybe that's the hook to get in, and then maybe he sells, what do you call it? Shag, honey, the media. Where you have different things that you have to offer, like T-shirts and mugs and things like that.
Oh, the merch.
Yeah, merch. Yeah,
Okay.
affiliate sales. Sponsorships, all those things. So yeah, okay. So that's what his do. And what you said you wanted to look at some others in general.
Well, just under our subscriptions, but I did put the question out there, and for anybody who wants to leave comments, we definitely appreciate those as well. But what piques your interest when you see a thumbnail? And I usually YouTube when I'm searching a topic, and guess I go for a recent or large views. We do a lot of research on places to go, so then it's the most beautiful picture. I'm a sucker for a good picture too. I like those.
Right. So here's some. Okay, I see Nomadic Hippies there, and then in the middle, Living Light RV, and here's one. Philip Bloom. He's really, has hundreds of thousands of followers. He's got all these different pictures there, which
Let's
is
go
kind
out
of
again.
interesting. What's
Yeah,
that?
Let's go out a little bit.
Oh, zoom out?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So he's got 4 across there. And so as you take a look at some of these, you can see where some of them have more words. Here's one by My Mountain Husky, and they don't have any word there. They just have a picture of the dog.
Well,
2
that'll
of them
sell
there.
it.
And so, yeah, but then there's that, they always do pranks, and here's one, a prank
Yeah.
using, it looks like
A dinosaur.
a dinosaur, a T-Rex. So, some of them are news-based. Some of them, Steve Tuttle, he's got a funny face talking about, right in the title, it says Army Corps of Engineers work camp jobs. Well, it's very specific. In fact, he's niched down. He's gotten more specific on something within the world of RV or travel or jobs. So, yeah, all kinds of fun things. So you'll see that generically, though, some of them might be, well, we like to say it's so important to know your brand. And so, educational, entertainment, enlightening, fun, that's kind of what we are. And I hope if you're in the RV business there, if that's why you're watching us or going things, yeah, you probably more expect that kind of stuff. Maybe though you are interested in like learning how to put in a solar system or something like that.
Exactly, all the how-to, those usually will get your attention when you're looking at a topic. And I agree, I definitely will look at view count as well.
Mm-hmm. But here's some others there, just kind of scrolling down. And so, okay, I hope that helps to give you a thought on when we go to thumbnails and the importance of that. And so let's talk now about the titles, Grace.
Definitely, the titles are, the hook, your search criteria, and I think that works into the SEOs as well. The search engine optimization is really important. That title that you're giving to it is going to be the key words that you're using, so how do you come up with your title?
Mm-hmm. And I see Steve Turtle is a good site. Yes, he is. He's got great energy. He's got a consistent brand. He's a fun-loving guy. He's very giving. And so once you start to know what the brand is, you kind of you're more forgiving on the thumbnails and the titles, but he's talked about that on his videos also, what his effort is. He doesn't spend a lot of money. You don't have to have a lot of money spent to do the things you do to get an audience once they get to do the KLT.
And know and the like. And
Let's
the
put that down. That is
trust.
so important.
Hello, Gina. Good to see you.
No. Hi, Gina. Like. And eventually, ...
Know, like, and trust.
Trust. KLT is so important. Yeah, and so I think certainly for the Honorable Mr. Tuttle there, he does a good job with that. And so once you get to know someone's brand, the promise, what they're going to deliver, it is so good. And Gina, our rock star out there.
Definitely.
She is, talk about fun. If you haven't been there, Living Light also is another great site. And Loving Light, that is Hitched Up, is that, they have kind of like us, kind of newer to the game, but their Teardrop is a wonderful rig that they've got, bigger than most of them, but they get by just fine with it when they travel light and go far. That's kind of, we're in between, aren't we, Grace?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, I am going to just take one little second.
And Gina's
here.
driving. I think she's going to be heading down towards Quartzsite herself, going to beat us down there she's leaving from Oregon, and she has her kitty cats and a box van herself that is roaring to go.
I'm going to just show here. Actually, I'm showing the wrong right here. And there is Loving Light
okay.
Hitched Up with their little teardrop, and they have the map like we do.
Is that neat?
I love our map. Those are always so much fun.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's a really neat way. But if you take a look at that, I mean, you can see that by the colors they wear, and look at the RV itself. Isn't that great with the turquoise and kind of like the stainless kind of thing? It's what a great brand. So you kind of expect is that when they deliver and when they did their 40 questions, the challenge and things like that, you can expect sincerity and a lot of fun. So yeah, it helps if you're truthful, doesn't it?
Yes. The teardrop, we first saw that when we were down in Quartzsite about 3 years ago, and we met Mandy Lee.
Yeah, Mandy Lee.
She had the teardrop, and she had the little kitchen popped out, the back part of it. She was really
right. She has all the cooking in the back, but she, I don't know, probably has tens of thousands of subscribers now. She does photography and talks about where she goes, but solo, and she does a fantastic job.
And one thing too, we were talking about thumbnails as well as titles, and one thing that we always see is the salacious, especially on the thumbnails. There's always a babe in the bikini. So as well as the title, both of those, like Michael was saying, those are promises. So if you're putting something with spectacle or salacious in the title or the thumbnail, then your audience is going to
Come,
anticipate that you deliver that.
come back to me now. Put me on the big screen there,
Put
darling, or
you
else I
on
will.
the big screen.
Yeah, I want to go big screen
Okay,
myself
let's
there.
see. There you go.
Okay, so here's I didn't get because of the Tasty Babes, but Home Automation X. So once you get into like a front door camera or Androids all through the house, things like that, they have a good show on that. But if you look at their thumbnails, they normally have somewhat well endowed women, and some of them it's like, oh, or this one here, is it like you're wearing your evening wear or something? But it is kind of, they make it sort of subliminally clear that they're cute, attractive, and it looks like they're eligible it's almost like they're in swimsuit attire. So that kind of catches you like, oh, okay, that's what you're selling. Then obviously that's the type of audience they're going to get, and whether they sell whatever it is they're trying to do, I don't know. Maybe they're just going for views, but that is a little clickbaity, wouldn't you say?
Definitely.
So, you get some like Traveling Robert, as a for instance, or Nomadic Fanatic, or things like that. They're kind of more themselves and just the average guys. And
Russ.
what's that?
Or Russ.
Or Russ, for sure. RV or TV, or Bob Wells, or things like that. They're not peddling their bodies, are they? They're more people of content, not of form. And so when we go to the sites, now let's turn it around, not just speak about the RV people, but when we go to things, is that what is our anticipation that we're looking for? And Grace, when you watch your videos, what do you go to when you're searching YouTube for some content?
Well, first I want to say hello to Rayleigh Creative Travel. How you doing?
Hey, good to have you
see
here,
you.
Rayleigh. Yeah.
And what am I looking for when I do a search?
Yes.
I think I'm usually looking for a story. That will always grab me, especially a hero's journey. So if the title and the thumbnail has that type of a promise, then you're really going to draw me in because I want to know the journey. What's the story?
Okay, so I did see. Now here's when I see Traveling Robert, and he's got these two little geese or something like that. He's waving them in front of the screen. And then underneath him, another big one is Jen and, oh gosh, the name will come to me in a second, but RV Lifestyle. And you can see where they've got the two of them and their dog in the middle.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and they, happy campers, and they do a weekly show, as well as their others. But the Wendelins, there we go. So, yeah, so they have ones. And over on the right, I can see Northwoods RV Life and Corey and Nora, and so they have theirs. So yeah, you kind of start to get a feel. What's your vibe if it's associated with the people? Some of them, they may have expressions. There's Fordham, aka Kenneth Oakes. He's got his mouth right open there. He's got some energy, and so on and so forth.
Go up a little bit.
Okay.
So we were just talking right where it says the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah.
We were just talking about photography, and that one would catch my interest right away because of the photo. And it's something I recognize as well. So I think sometimes when we recognize something, it definitely makes us stop and take a second look.
Yeah, I'd say this font size works well, but if it was a smaller font, because they have different pictures within the font, embedded in it, it's a little bit hard to read, but it works. And Grace, like she says, she loves the pictures, so that's enough to entice her in. Should we go on to the next topic?
Alrighty, and that is the content. What is the story?
Yeah, and I'm wondering if TJ, maybe in Loving Light Hitched Up, or anybody else would like to talk about when they use TubeBuddy, or however they do that.
I would love to
It's
hear.
like, yeah, so this is rich keywords, search engine optimization we're talking about, is that you would love it. So when somebody watches something else, they haven't found you yet, they get to the end of the video and they say, well, what's next? And so then it gets into rich keywords.
Yeah, keywords.
Because some of it is based upon what the human sees, and some of it's based upon what the search engine says it helps. While we're doing that, though, and we'll get to this a little bit later, if you've got some keywords that are just the best possible keywords, man, you've got 6 or 8 keywords in the title and
Isn't that a long tail?
40, yeah, long tail, what are the multiple words that are just a perfect match? And then YouTube says, well, we rendered some videos to you, some impressions, they call them. And the people, they clicked on them. There was a click through, but the click through rate was okay. But the people left after 5 or 15 seconds.
Definitely.
Uh-oh.
Really asked, do you guys use the free version or the paid TubeBuddy? I haven't actually used it yet. I just was looking at it myself.
Yeah,
Michael's probably
it
more
depends
familiar.
how many, subs and what kind of features you want, but you can get the basic for $9, I think, a month. And if you get a promo, you can get it for $4.50. And then they have the $19 a month version, which has more features and functionality. But yeah, I think to start off is just get just the most basic, and you get a lot of value. At least it'll get you thinking in the way of is that, well, let's say you don't even have that. We're just going to use YouTube. Okay, and so I'm on YouTube, and so Grace, give me something that we might want to search for.
Search for Quartzsite.
Oh, that's it. Just
2020.
Quartzsite. Quartzsite, Quartz, believe it or not. It's not the correct way to spell it, but they post office started by spelling it with a Z, so there it is. Yeah, it's not really spelled with a Z. It's, so, any rate, but the city, since that's it, that's the way we should spell it. Anyway, so you can see once I say the word Quartzsite, even YouTube has a bit of a TubeBuddy, a bit of a vidIQ in it. It's because it's suggesting what the next word is. It says, Michael, I think the next word you might want is Arizona or AZ. Maybe you want RV camping. Maybe you want to have the RV show in 2020 or 2021.
Yeah, I like that. That interests me. I'd like to see what's coming in 2021.
Oh, maybe boondocking. Maybe I should look at YouTube. Maybe I wanted boondocking. I didn't know what BLM land stands for, but I know boondocking. Camping and a gem show you see down at the Atom. RV. So I'm going to go do the next word. What do you want for the second word, Grace?
Those are all keywords. So Quartzsite.
Give me a second word is all now.
2021.
2021. And you can see it says, okay, I think you probably want the 2021 RV show. So even if you don't have TubeBuddy or vidIQ or whatever, you might say, well, if I want to go by something that is enticing a lot of other people, fine. Maybe you don't, though. Maybe you thought, I've already got this video recorded, and I want to have it on something else. I want it to be, something more specific. Now we're drilling down. We're getting more into the niche here. And so I want to have, what would be something good there? Stores.
Beads.
Store. Yeah, or beads. Yeah, beads is one. Grace likes beads. Yeah, there it is, beads. Or beach. I don't think you'd find much of a beach there, but they do have a sort of a desert beach.
On a horse with no name?
Yeah, but maybe you just say Quartzsite and not 2021, and maybe you say desert bar.
Flyers.
So
well,
the desert bar is
in Palmer.
It's up north about 30 miles away.
That's a
Parker,
great place. Parker.
Yeah, so all I'm saying is and we kind of got very specific to start, but if we did RV desert bar, it might come up there.
Well, it's not RV desert bar. It's just a desert bar.
Oh, it is not. Yeah, right. Just
because you really can't take your RV out to the desert bar.
Parker bar.
Not very easily, anyway.
Yeah. So anyway, all I'm saying is, also before you even open up your, what would you call it? Your big gorilla, your big guns, the guns of Navarone, you just using either Google or YouTube search and use the suggested words you may find is helpful for you, if that makes sense.
Right. And then we were talking about the content, and I would love people to leave some comments when they're looking at the titles and the thumbnail, what they're looking for in the content. And with that, you see a thumbnail, you like it, you click on it. You see a title, you like it, you click on it. But it's going to be the content that keeps you staying there. So what is it that keeps you staying and watching?
Yeah, let's talk about content. So it gets to be the word story. And I love people like Casey Neistat.
Yeah, he does good.
He talks about the 3-act play, and most people like start yawning right away. Oh gosh, protagonist, antagonist, turning point, and the drama, and so on. But he tells it like this: Jack and Jill went up the hill. Excuse me. Jack and Jill went up the hill. The setup. Jill fell down and broke her crown. The inciting incident. Jack did, I guess, and Jill came tumbling after. The resolution. And so when you think about your video, when you watch one, when you get to the end of it, you hopefully got some kind of payoff, that thumbnail, the title, the description. And now you're going in, you're going to, I'll buy. I did the taste test.
Okay, but
When you go to Costco or somewhere and they give you the free food samples or whatever, and now you expect them to deliver, right?
this is an ode to Paula. Jill come tumbling down is not a resolution.
It's a, you are so right. It's kind of a flimsy one, but it's a nursery rhyme, admittedly. But the fact of the matter is, as Casey Neistat is trying to say, is that, the end of it, when you go watch a 2-hour movie or 90 minutes, whatever it happens to be, at the end of it, if it's just expositional the whole time, just words, blah, 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 and at the end of it, it's sort of like, Grace didn't like No Country for Old Men.
Did not like it at all.
And so at the end of it is like, well, that's just kind of the way life is. You're an old guy, and Sugar, or whatever his name was a bad dude to the core. And that's kind of the way it is. I suppose there are some others that way too, but you like something with a moral, right? A payoff at the
Right.
end of it.
Yeah, I didn't. There was no hero's journey. What was the other one? Is it Yuma?
Oh, 310 to Yuma.
Yeah, 310 Yuma was great. I
Yeah.
like that one.
I mean, when you think about that type as a movie, here's one where you think the movie is about guys with their 6-shooters. But at the end of it, it gives me chills thinking about it. It's the resolution is that the father's relationship with the son. The father wanted this one thing from his son, RESPECT. And it was about whether or not the son, as he was growing up, becoming a formative age. Most of these movies, oftentimes they relate to when a person goes into puberty, when they become an adult, what were they like? And how does that affect the rest of their lives? And so you realize it wasn't just about the good and the bad guy, which was a whole nother dimension. But yeah, that was a great one, honey. Good call on that
Yeah,
one.
that was great. So we have a comment. We love the balance of information and scenery, but find it hard to recreate in our own videos. And we struggle with that as well. And I think so much of it is B-roll. I was watching a video this morning and I took a lot of notes on it and I sent it over to Michael because a lot of it caught my attention, just this attention to detail that he did. And a lot of it he might have had already like on a backup, just little B-roll information stuff. But his scenery was great. The cinematic effect, definitely pulled me in immediately.
Yeah, but I think TJ, I would say you
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
you did. So yeah, it is so interesting is because you can tell a story 1,000 different ways. And I've seen where a person who had a company actually doing weddings mostly. They were videographers and had editors. They needed another editor. And they said, here's all the footage. Here's 4 hours of footage. They had 20 people who were interested in the job, and they all submitted their videos, cut videos down to 20 minutes. When you looked at them, half of them you'd say, was it using the same footage? Because they told a different story.
Oh, I remember that. That was intriguing.
It was.
That was a fun challenge. And that might be something we want to do in our own group, is to set up a challenge like that where everybody takes footage, especially like if we're all going to the same place, like courtside, and we're at an event. So we each take different footage and then we put it all into a shared drive, and we each get like 15 minutes to tell a story.
And so one of the people edited, you could just about know him, and it wasn't her, I could tell by the way it was cut, is that it had more the salacious type stuff. It had zoomed in electronically the tight shots of women that were more voluptuous,
I
shall
know
we
who
say.
did that one.
And then it would have more like, say, when the wedding ring was being put on, the wedding ring was dropped, and what was the reaction of the mother of the bride and the father of the bride and some of the people? Are they laughing or whatever? Another person, they spent more time before the wedding where the father of the bride was talking to his daughter uh, to kind of like, this is the great day of the life and all the things, but it was much more
The
emotional and
story.
much more where it was had intimacy.
Yeah.
So, and that is true, I guess, DJ, is that when we get in a situation where, some of our places we go, it screams, it begs for the cinema. I'll give you a good for instance, Niagara Falls. You can get video.
Slowly,
Slowly I turn. Now you can get um,
step
a
by
thousand
step.
different angles and the stills to go with it, and the B-roll, with the tied up with the vessels going up there with all their slickers on, and so there's a lot of stories there.
Right, and effects is
And
part of it
and when
too.
you go Mount Rushmore, I'm sorry, but there's just one picture. You can do some tight shots where
Right.
you zoom in a little bit on the founding fathers and maybe get some of the store or things like that or the people, but it's probably going to be a story maybe about, how was it made? What were the people behind it? Who created it? How much funding was it? And our next one we're going to be doing is about being into the Vermont, New Hampshire area. And we went to Bennington. We weren't going to stop at Bennington, but here's this 300-foot obelisk. And like, what's up with that? And it would be very easy for us to get in the trap. It was like, well, it's 336 feet tall. It's taller than Saratoga, which is where the next part of the Civil War was. Excuse me,
It,
the
it
Civil War was
depends
fought.
on your classification of trap,
I'm
though,
sorry, I
right?
said Civil War. I meant to say the war with the Redcoats, with the British.
1776.
So yeah, so different people have different ways they say it, but I guess what I'm saying is that if it turns out like you're at the Grand Canyon, yeah, you're going to want to do quite a bit of shots of the canyon at different times of day, probably. And others, yeah, it turns out that people want to hear about the backstory. And this is true with a movie. And if we're having a story we're telling, it might be something that wasn't what you initially thought you were going to go. You need to be flexible and find out where, what are the things that people get good value. Not us, the people who are going to watch it, what are they getting good value on?
Exactly. But when you talk about traps, because yeah, that's a trap to just do the wiki version.
Mm-hmm.
The 5 quick facts. Um, and that'll hold interest for so long. And then there is also the story behind, and that can be a trap too, because if you're paying too much attention to detail, it might get you caught up there for longer than you really wanted to spend.
Guilty as charged, because it turns out that if you've got like us, like a talking head that not any action and not much being said, they're gone. But if when you're doing an editing, if you can keep the action going, you might have some time where it's 30 seconds or more. But if you take a look at most of them these days, successful, they're probably having 5 to 10 seconds, and it's
Exactly.
changing.
Keep that scene moving.
And there's a lot of ways to do that. I mean, like RV or TV, Russ, I like that he does a commentary. He might have a while. He might have 30 seconds when he's in his drone. I mean, drones are fun, but after a little bit, the scenery just doesn't change.
Exactly. But I love drone footage.
Yeah.
And I love drone footage that follows the vehicle, because then it pulls you into that journey and it makes you feel like you're going on the journey with them. And I want to say hi to Desert Adventures in Arizona. We look forward to seeing you soon.
Woo-hoo! In Arizona, love it.
We were
No,
just talking about Arizona.
yeah, I was, oh gosh, I go back a couple of years there, Sonny, when I was down in Tucson. And I grew up in Redding, California, and ended up in the military down there at Fort Huachuca. Was in Sierra Vista, and then when I got out, I started my career in Tucson. Was there for 3 years and enjoyed the golf courses and things around there. And now we find ourselves going back in January to Quartzsite and seeing
Definitely.
some of the other areas around there
Yeah,
too. We
Lake
might add.
Havasu. We love Lake Havasu.
Yeah, it's a great state. But Grace, you haven't seen a lot of it yet. I don't think we've taken you to Flagstaff or Prescott. You don't say Prescott. Prescott.
Well, I was standing on a corner.
We've been to Winslow.
I
She
was
finally,
standing on a corner
when
in
we were
Winslow,
coming back on our
Arizona.
around the United States in 90 days, and
That was fun.
I said, Grace, guess what's coming up?
Standing on a
Windsor. And she said,
corner
what up?
with
And I
the
said,
stars
Then she got it.
Yeah, I was a happy camper, and it's a great little town too
Hmm.
because I love music, and so that town really, really it took a lot of liberties with the fact that they had been mentioned in a
Right.
song in the 70s, and every corner has tribute to that time and place. So it was fun. I liked that place a
Hmm.
lot.
Yeah.
And
So,
then, do you remember the name of the RV place that we stayed at?
oh, that was in Nevada, and it was just before we came across the border, and I don't, but it was, yeah, it was the Petrified
Yeah,
Forest
it's about 50
State Park.
miles closer to, it's right by Winslow. It's a state park right by
Right.
Winslow. So, hi, I want to say hello to MGM family.
Hey, MGM, great to have you here. And they do have a great family. We loved your 40 questions when you did those too, by the way.
Definitely.
So, yeah, and they do a Saturday show. So I guess I think, a little earlier than us. So awesome. Good to have you
Oh,
here.
21 years in the military. Thank you so much for your
For your
service.
service. Yeah. So I was there, let's see, when I came back from traveling abroad from Vietnam in 1971, 1972. I was down there at Fort Huachucan. I don't know what part of the state you might have been in, or maybe you were in the military in other states, but awesome. That's so good to hear.
That is fantastic. Okay, well, we're getting to the point that we're going to wrap this up. So we had talked
Oh, no,
about,
we've got a little bit
well,
more.
no, I know, but we wanted to talk about two other things.
Oh, yes,
So
we do.
I
We've
want to,
kind of talked some about
yeah,
content. Let me just kind of put a bow on that if I can, then we can come back to it. May I?
sure.
Okay, so when you do your content, I guess that here again, everyone has their own style. And once you've got your style, it helps a lot. But then it's also good to take a look as what are the best practices? What is your competition? We don't really have competition. We just have other people. There's plenty of people out there to watch these videos with the billions of views that are watched each day. So, yeah, is think about what are the things that have where people are going to want to continue to watch, as we'll talk about next. But your story is important, and to keep it moving. And hopefully, in those first, 3 to 5 minutes, you've done a good job where you've solidified where they want more. And if you want to call that the tease that's in your thumbnail and your title and your description, whatever it is. But one of the things that we had talked about doing today, but we weren't sure how many people would be here, is have the wheel, right, honey?
Wheel of
Tell us
Fortune.
about the wheel.
Um, you know more about the wheel than I do.
Okay, well, there's a wheel that some YouTubers use when they're live, and at the end of the show, they'll then have a spin for all the people that put their names in. They'll say, "Okay, we'll spin it with their names, and we'll give an Amazon gift certificate, something like that." So that's one of the ways to try to entice or have people where you give something back at the end of the show. And we go more on that, but I wanted you to go to Watch Time Darling. Go for it.
Well, I want to ask a question though, because when we talked about the story and the title and the thumbnail, and it leads us into the next thing, which is the watch time.
The
You know,
time.
the
Okay.
time. So, if your video is 4.5 minutes, 5 minutes long, and you're looking at the analytics and you see that people are dropping off maybe at 2 minutes, or they're staying until 4, or they're staying until 5, then your overall, you're going to, score 33% average, or a 50% average, or 75% average. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what keeps you watching. Yeah, so what your thoughts are on watching, and leave that in the comments below as well, and we'll be looking at those later.
Okay.
Yeah, but what's the cost? That's the thing, right? Because we all have to pay for, entertainment and everything else.
One
Thanks
way
for
or
being
the
here,
other.
loving. We really appreciate you guys. Oh, and dinner. Yeah, eat and have fun.
Yeah, have a good time, and look forward to your next video coming out too.
Definitely.
So
Thanks
here
so
we
much.
have like 1 minute, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And so your people that are watching it, maybe it starts off whatever this number is, let's say 10 or 100 or whatever, and it's kind of going on, and then right about here, some starts going down, and then it kind of goes like that. Something like this, like what in the heck happened there? Well, some people watch that first minute, And then they start going down at minute 2. And then, man, after minute 2, it's like, man, we only have about maybe 20% of the people who initially were on over here at this point. So that could be us, in fact, when we're watching videos. And then right here, how could it go up? Well, people did a rewind. Maybe it's like, oh, there was something happened. That was like where Michael was out in, I can't remember the name of the city in Minnesota, but where I was behind Kaliki and I have him on a leash and
Good
the
thing
ground
I
is
was
very
filming.
wet. I'm running and Grace is filming on her iPhone. And I could see I was going to do a perfect face plant. And I did. My head was bouncing along, and I left a gash about this long in the grass. And so, yeah, I'm sure some people rewound, just like when Grace did the same thing up by Pollock Pines, up by the Sierras.
Well, unfortunately, though, you didn't have the camera on, because had you had the camera on, we really would have had a salacious thumbnail because I bounced.
I've got to kind of interject something on that. I had it. I didn't have a camera lens. It was a 7200 Canon lens, and it was like it. You had to refocus it, and she got close to me, so I turned it off about a quarter to half a second before she fell.
Well, I bit the dust.
When she fell, I asked her. I said, "Are you okay?" She says, "I'm fine." And I started recording again, and then in editing, I chopped off that bit. So I don't think anybody would really have noticed because when you're editing, as it turns out, if you edit during the motion, you don't want to edit when there's no motion. But if you're doing a wipe and you're doing it during the motion, nobody noticed it, darling, except you.
And Desert Adventures in Arizona says that I've learned that if you get too much in detail, like the settings on a game camera, people will bail out. And you know, I think a lot of it is know your audience because I am ADD. And I'm one of those too much detail, and my eyes start crossing.
Mm-hmm. That is so true, though. Yeah, that is kind of exactly what can happen to me because I'm more analytical, left brain, and Grace just kind of starts shooting there. And so, yeah, some of these that are out there is that it's, you like the words that I use on this. Remember what those 2 words are, honey? Analysis
Oh
paralysis.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
That is a good one.
it is. So thank you for that. Yeah, that's an excellent point there is that we can get like, oh, well, look at the depth of field here. Isn't that beautiful bouquet on the shot? And people are like, I don't even know what he's talking about with depth
Right.
of field or bouquet.
Well, I'd rather see the bouquet than talk about, you know, the knobs. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
want to see what it does. I'm a hands-on kind of person. Yeah, and B-roll, you know, is very imperative as well to keep that scene changing every 7 seconds and not just be stuck on the dial.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to show what it does at least. So if you're stuck on a dial and you're showing what it, you're talking about it, and then you can do a voiceover and go to a B-roll type of a footage. Right, honey? You do all that. I just tell him what to do. And then he,
make
gets, he makes it happen.
make it happen.
I come up with the creative ideas.
Something to be said for that. So yeah, I guess that when it comes to the view time is that we do want to be aware, not only here again as the producer, but when we're watching something else. You know, if I see something, I know the first 30 seconds. If they've got a long trailer, I really want to see it. I don't want to watch the 30 seconds over and
Yeah,
over
you
and over
skip it.
again. If it's that long, if it's 10 seconds, I'll probably, if it's got good music, I'm going to go double back for just a second. Or if it's something cinematic like a drone and the scenery is changing some, if you've got good music, it's great.
Yeah, but
But
they're still
some
saying,
people use music as a crutch. They make the music
right, loud.
almost like you can't hear them. And it's like, no, I don't want just the music. Some people do, and that's okay for them.
Exactly. You know, but I was reading recently in a blog that the average trailer or the setup to the video should be about 7 to 9 seconds on an average.
Mm-hmm.
That opening, especially on, you know, if your video is only 4 minutes and your opening's 30 seconds.
Right. So looking at some of our thumbnails and discussions as we get into view time, like Lake Havasu, you know, if you've got people that they're really like that, we did the hot air balloon down there. That was one where people hung in there for it. When we did the Escapers Bash, part of the Escapees group is that if you've got like hundreds of people that are there, and for sure, when we went up to the kinetic race up there, up in
Yeah, that was
towards
fun.
Eureka, Yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
people love that.
Yeah, because if there's a lot of people who are participating, then there's a lot of people that want to see that video and see if they're in it.
Hmm.
So, okay, in conclusion, I want to talk about
Oh,
subscriptions, which is a
that.
big part. I guess it's the everything else is a bait, right? The know, like, and trust. It's a give, 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 ask. You
Ooh,
know,
well said, honey. Give, give, give,
give,
ask.
give, give, ask. Who says that?
Gary Vaynerchuk.
You remember the names. I remember what they say. Yeah. So, what intrigues you enough to hit subscribe, and even more importantly, to ring that bell? You can ring my
Okay, let's see if they got some
bell.
things and input. I'll give you kind of mine.
Okay.
Is that if it turns out it's something where even if it's just one video, but I can tell that I like either this person or I like their content or they're saying what they're going to do in the future and it's worth kind of doing a taste test and kind of giving it the old college try. Those are some of the main things I do. Also, what happens to be my genre. Ooh, we haven't really talked about that, have we? The niche. So if it happens to be like, when my grandson came and visited and I asked him what he wanted to do, he said, I'd like to go play some paintball. Well, that was fun. And I thought, I've never owned a weapon, but hey, I kind of went out and thought, yeah, this could be fun to do. I like just the notion of having buddies that are on your side, and maybe the next time one of the opponents are on your side, you change around, but just the actually working together, communicating, know, like, and trust. So, it's like, okay, this is like something in paintball that I might learn. So it might be more educationally oriented, or maybe it's just for laughs.
Right,
So,
or like the e-bike. We've got
yeah.
make your playlist, obviously. So you can narrow down those different niches. And the e-bike is a popular one because there's a lot of people. We built the two bikes and then the rides that we go on. So I agree with you
I
on
want
that.
to say something on that note because we didn't talk about it before, and you nailed it here. So, we certainly can go up at the top at the browser and we can search for e bikes, maybe RV space e bikes. Or you could, once you're in YouTube, you could use the search next to where it says the word premium. We have a premium, and I could say e bike.
Thanks, Desert. He rang the bell. Ding,
Ding
ding, ding.
ding. Okay,
You can
so
ring
yeah,
my
here it's about
bell.
e-bikes, but there's a third search, and that is when you're already in a person's channel. We're at the
Right.
California Travel Videos
There it is.
channel, and there is a actual search for their site. And if you didn't know that, that's a wonderful thing. And if you actually are a producer, it's wonderful also. So I'm going to search for e-bike at our site. And here we go. It looks like,
Cape
geez, a
Cod.
lot of people like that one. 600 views there at Cape Cod. And so, okay, what else? Oh, there's Rad Power
Yeah, that was our
e-bike.
test drive.
Yeah, and even though it was just a test drive,
It was
it
fun.
got 1,200 views. Go figure. And it wasn't really produced with a lot in mind.
Putting it together.
Putting together the time lapse and things. Going to Maumee State Park. You remember that in Ohio, Grace?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. We wanted to go to Columbus, Ohio. Grace loves music, and the Hall of Fame, there was nowhere we were going to find to park our 26-foot RV.
Nowhere. We were out of luck.
So, yeah, so any rate, but we did something else, and people like that. And so, you would take a look, and this is specifically for a niche on e-bikes. So some people might be, oh, I like their Siberian Husky.
Right. Click for Kaliki.
Kaliki,
If you don't
Kaliki.
like us,
But how come it didn't show us any of Kaliki?
Kaliki.
Because I entered it into the general search.
Oh, well, you can. and
Let's
it will
go
come
back.
up.
It will, but it's not going to be at the top. But if we
It's
go
close.
within our site and search for Kaliki, then we're going to get all the ones at our site.
There's a baby.
So, any rate, I guess what I'm saying is when it comes to how important are your subscribers, yeah, well, once they've got the know, like, and trust, they've subscribed, is then, assumedly, we always want them to hit the bell, right? So that you get a notification. Because if you hit the subscribe and we forget to hit the bell, you may not get notified when the next YouTube comes out. And if it's a live stream, you'd maybe want to participate it like this one.
Exactly.
Otherwise, you're not even aware of it. So,
Yeah. Yeah, we're hoping to do some more interviews in the next ones as we get more familiar with this challenge at times, as was Friday the 13th. But if you're
Right.
still here with us, we definitely thank you for watching.
And let's let them say if they have any things for input. Now it's your chance to go ahead and ask this the question. And I hope the questions are
That was easy.
no, you make them hard if you want to.
And if you don't want to ask them here now live, leave your comments below and we'll be happy to look at
Yeah,
those.
but if you've got feedback for us right now or you have questions you want, this is kind of a two-mode thing. So on producing or on things that we like or maybe not like on other people's when we're searching for videos, maybe it's like I don't like clickbait, whatever it is. Whatever you'd like to talk about, we'll give a minute to see if anybody's got any thoughts on what comes to their mind before we go ahead
Desert
and call it a
Adventure
day.
says, yep, I tested that today. You are correct.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's here again, this is all part of your brand, your marketing. And so, like we said in another video, I think it was Paula there, wasn't it, where we talked about some on branding. And like Socrates said, know thyself. So once you kind of know what you want, what you have to offer, and you do some feedback to kind of modify it as you go forward. Grace, why don't you tell us in closing about one of your channels?
Okay, well, first I want to say, you said video clips should be short in length, 6 to 7 seconds, and not necessarily the clip, because you can always have a longer clip and use it in multiple scenes, but the scene should be about 6 to 7 seconds before it changes to another scene.
Yeah, just on that note, it's so interesting the dozens of ways you can handle that. Because you might
Like
say, no, there's a lot of stuff that's going to happen in this scene. There's a movement in the scene. That's one way. Another is that you have some overlays. So you might just have the basic scene there, but maybe you have a pop-up. And you know what I do? Oftentimes when I think I don't want to have change the scene, I'm going to put text in the lower third. So I'm going to have like a little, I'm going to go ahead and show you an example of this. Let's go ahead and, Grace, you want to give me the full screen?
The full screen.
The full,
Give the man
the full Monty. I was
We've
afraid.
been married too long.
That's right. Guilty as charged. F1, Control B. And so this is the real estate on the screen. And so here I've got person one,
Here
happy.
comes a napkin.
Person two, and they're kind of like, well, I'm not so sure. But there's some things going on, talking back and forth. And I'll maybe down here, I'll put, whatever the words are, things like that. And maybe it'll be a scrolling text. But, now the scene is really changing. It doesn't have to be a different picture, but, you can do it with a voiceover. And I think Russ RV or TV does a great job in that way. You can put text down there and it's got something to keep it moving. So we had one, oh my gosh, where were we? Up in upstate New York. In a lot of the homes, they've got, how can I do this? Oops. Homes.
You want me to come and draw for you?
Yes, I do. They've got a star. It's like, what's the stars doing on this home? I had no idea. And so I then in the video, I thought, well, I'm going to show what the stars mean, what they represent. And so I thought, is it all from Texas? Is it the Lone Star State?
That's
What's
what
it
I
doing in
thought.
New York? And so, yeah, I eventually found out. And I had a lot of different stars. And down at the bottom, I put the text that, talked about the different types of star. And that was the way I kept it changing. So there's a lot of ways to do this. It might be the old, you got the one picture and then you do the old picture in picture, with another picture going on over here. So yeah, think about the ways you can accomplish that, and maybe just even having the same scene, or go from one scene to do a cutaway and do another. So the cutaway might be you in the drop-in box.
Right.
Good
so-
question. I like that
Alrighty.
one.
And-
Okay.
And on those subscriptions, real quick, is the milestone. So when you get to 100 subscribers, that's when you get to have the YouTube / California travel video. And
up
everybody,
here?
that's coveted, right? You definitely want that. And then the next milestone is at 1,000. That's definitely our goal and what we're hoping to achieve. So we look forward to
And the 4,000 hours, which we've
that. We have.
blown through that many times over.
Yeah, we
so-
have the hours. We just need those subscriptions. So
Well, yeah.
thank you so much for being a part of our tribe. And, speaking of tribe, I was thinking we need a name. Our tribe needs a name. So maybe we'll work on that and talk about a name next week.
Yeah, and if you have suggestions on what our name should be, is that be sure it's like what do you call it?
Can you
Family
give-
friendly.
Can you give me a happy button? He just hit his 100 yesterday.
Oh, okay. I want a happy button here. I'm gonna
That's
give it nailed
awesome.
it.
Nailed it.
It has been nailed.
And I want a yes, 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 please.
Okay.
Well, yes.
Yes.
Give me the one. Give me an E. Give me
Way to go. That feels so good. I know it took us a while to get to that 100 mark. And when we did, it's like, hey, you're 60, 70, 72, 73. And when you get to 100, you say, I think I am relevant. Remember that word relevant? Yeah. So when we feel like we're giving some value for value, and then you start to realize that some of the stuff we did, as we look back, you go, oh man, it wasn't really that valuable.
Right.
But maybe our friends and family, they were generous for us. But at some point, your friends and family only go to a certain spot. You have to kind of pay your dues and earn it the old-fashioned way. So
Wow, that's great.
that's where
3
we're at.
months.
yeah,
That's-
that's in
that's
3 months.
awesome.
That is fantastic. So
So-
you're doing a lot of things right. And hopefully you're kind of taking a look and seeing what the smart money is doing out there. And sometimes doing the same, and some things, my niche is a little bit different this way. So look at your analytics and keep up the show. And then I guess also when you start watching other shows, just think about what works for you and try to do that for your audience out there.
And we will be back on Friday this time, 2 p.m., back to our normally scheduled live stream.
Mhm.
So we hope you'll join us then. And for a reminder, just make sure to hit that bell.
Yeah, so we've got a new video coming out in a couple days, and we are really excited about this because I mentioned is that you go to one of these monoliths at Bennington, which is in the state of, is it New Hampshire, honey?
Vermont.
Vermont. It is in Vermont. Okay. So right next to New Hampshire. And, so we're trying to what is the big deal about this, which is hopefully, you look at most of the people that have got the views on it, they're not that many. So what is something that's a better story than just looking at a brick skyscraper?
Exactly. And we always like the historical side of it, too. So we've been doing a little bit of research on that, and we hope to get you the details and look forward to bringing that to you in a couple days.
Okay. Well,
So-
I think we can go ahead and put a bow on this one. Is there anything else?
That's it, honey. Let's go ahead and sign off. Thanks so much for being here. Again, if you got comments, leave them below. Hit the thumbs up if you get an opportunity, and we look forward to seeing you on Friday.
Right. We're all learning this together. So have a good day out there in the real world, and we'll see you again soon on the flip side. That's all for now. Peace out. Bye for now.
Happy trails.
And as always, happy trails to you until we meet again. Bye bye.